Welcome friends. Today's topic is cogeneration. First we discuss about the need for the cogeneration. See the diagram. Thermal power plants are a major source of electricity supply in India. The conventional method of power generation and supply to the customer is wasteful in the sense that only about a third of primary energy feed into the power plant is actually made available to the user in the form of electricity. In conventional power plants, efficiency is only 35% and remaining 65% of energy is lost. Okay, the major source of loss is in conversion process is the heat rejected to the surrounding water or air due to the inherent constraints of the different thermodynamic cycles employed in power generation. Also further, losses of around 10 to 15% are associated with the transmission and distribution of electricity in the electrical grid. Okay, this is not our scope. The diagram here, the boiler input is 100 kilojoules, sorry, gigajoules, okay, 100 gigajoules. Gigajoules means 10 to the power 9. The input from the coal firing, okay, 100 gigajoules, and through the flue gas energy loss is 10.2 gigajoules, okay, through stack or chimney. This much amount of energy lost to the chimney. Okay, then energy loss from hot surfaces, which is radiation losses, which is equal to 1 gigajoule. Is equal to 1 gigajoule. Then energy loss from blowdown. Blowdown, already we discussed what is blowdown. Blowdown is a removal of dissolved particles from the steam line. Okay, through that dissolved particles some steam also losses. Okay, through that steam certain amount of heat energy losses, which is nearly 0.8 gigajoules. Then through ashes 0.7 gigajoules of energy losses. Then remaining, which is 100 minus 1.8 and 10.2 and 0.7, remaining is 87.3 gigajoule is a steam output from the boiler, which is input of the turbine. Okay, 87.3 gigajoules is the input of the turbine. Therefore, which means before entering the turbine, so there is some losses. Okay, then the turbine generates output which is equal to 39 gigajoules only. Okay, from 87.3 gigajoules, the turbine generates 39 gigajoules of electricity. Okay, then the remaining steam go to the condenser. Condense the steam and return to the boiler with the help of cooling tower. Okay, in the cooling tower, the 48.3 gigajoules of energy losses. Okay, major loss. Okay, during the in the cooling tower, we have 48.3 gigajoules of energy, but that energy is directly losses. Okay, which is production is only 39, but loss is 48.3 plus 10.2 plus 1 plus 0.8 plus 0.7. These are the losses. And finally, here 2.8 gigajoules are electricity auxiliaries. Auxiliaries means that pump and mounted in a boiler arrangement and various parts in a power plant. Okay, the remaining output is 36.3 gigajoules. Total output of the power plant is 36.3 gigajoules out of 100 gigajoules. Then the thermal efficiency equal to 36.2%. Okay, from that we see one thing. The major loss is heat loss. Okay, nearly 65% is losses. Okay, this is the one point. Then we go to the principle of cogeneration. Cogeneration or combined heat and power is defined as the sequential generation of two different forms of useful energy from a single primary energy source. typically mechanical energy and thermal energy. Mechanical energy means turbine electricity output. Thermal energy means thermal energy usage, which is process industries. Okay, we combine electricity and process energy industry with one single input, which is called cogeneration. Because in previous diagram I tell one thing, using one thing, the major loss is through heat loss. Therefore we can utilize that heat loss, that is called cogeneration. Okay, then mechanical energy may be used either to drive an alternator for produce electricity or rotating equipment such as motors, compressors, pump or fan for delivering various services. Thermal energy can be used either for direct process applications or for indirectly producing steam, hot water, hot air for dryer or chilled water for process cooling. Okay, based on the appropriate machines. Then cogeneration provides a wide range of technologies for application in various domains of economic activities. The overall efficiency of energy used in cogeneration mode can be up to 85% and above in some cases. See the diagram. An industry requires 24 units of electrical energy and 34 units of heat energy through separate heat and power route. Okay, through separate heat and power route. The primary energy input in power plant will be 60 units. Okay, the primary energy input in power plant will be 60 units because the efficiency is 40% of power station. The efficiency of the power station is 40%. Therefore, the supply of input is 60 units. From that 60 unit, that 24 unit of electricity generated. Okay, then if a separate boiler is used to steam generation, then the fuel input to boiler will be 40 units. Okay, because boiler output is 34, the input is 40, because the boiler efficiency is 85%. Then if the plant had a cogeneration, then the fuel input will be only 68%, 68 units, because the efficiency of the cogeneration is 85%, because we have utilized the heat energy also as a useful energy. Okay, then 68 units to meet both electrical and thermal energy requirements. It can be observed that the losses, which are 42 units in the case of separate heat and power, has reduced to 10 units in cogeneration. Okay, and along with the CO2 emission also reduced. Okay, then technical options for cogeneration. Okay, first option is steam turbine cogeneration. There are two types of steam generation. Steam turbines most widely used are the back pressure and the extraction, another variation of the steam turbine topping cycle cogeneration system. In the extraction back pressure turbine, that can be employed where the end user needs thermal energy at two different temperature levels. The full condensing steam turbine are usually incorporated at sites where heat rejected from the process used to generate power. Okay, this back pressure turbine, which is extracted. Extraction, in the extraction turbine, we have need we have steam in two different temperatures. But in back pressure turbine, it is directly used steam from turbine, and it then passes to the pump and boiler. Okay, this is the difference between back pressure turbine and extraction condensing turbine. Extraction condensing turbine is the two different, the steam extracted in two different places. Okay, but in back pressure turbine, the steam is extracted as the output of the turbine only. Okay, because in that particular point the temperature of the steam is different, and in that particular point the temperature of steam is different. Okay, based on the appropriateness of application, we select the turbine from that two types. Okay, then the specific advantage of using steam turbine in comparison with the other prime movers is the option for using a wide variety of conventional as well as alternative fuels such as coal, natural gas, fuel oil, and biomass. The power generation efficiency of the human for electricity is greater than 1 megawatt up to a few hundreds of megawatt. Due to this system inertia, their operation is not suitable for sites with the intermittent energy demand. Okay. Then second, gas turbine cogeneration system. Yeah. Gas turbine cogeneration system can produce all or a part of energy requirement of the site, and the energy released at high temperature in the exhaust stack can be recovered for various heating and cooling applications. Though natural gas is most commonly used, other fuels such as light fuel oil or diesel can also be employed. The typical range of gas turbine varies from a fraction of megawatt to around 100 megawatts. Gas turbine cogeneration has probably experienced the most rapid development in the recent years due to the greater availability of natural gas, rapid progress in the technology, significant reduction in installation cost, and better environmental performance. Furthermore, the gestation period developing a project is shorter and the equipment can be delivered in a modular manner. Gas turbine has a short startup time and provides the flexibility of intermittent operation. Though it has a low heat to power conversion efficiency, more heat can be recovered at a high temperature. If the heat output is less than that required by the user, it is possible to have supplementary natural gas firing by mixing additional fuel to the oxygen rich exhaust gas to boost the thermal output more effectively or efficiently. This is one type. Then another type, reciprocating engine cogeneration system. This is also known as internal combustion engines. The cogeneration system have high power generation efficiencies in comparison with other prime movers. There are two sources of heat for recovery. One is exhaust gas at high temperature and engine jacket cooling water system at low temperature. As heat recovery can be quite efficient for small systems, the systems are more popular with smaller energy consuming facilities, particularly those having a greater need for electricity than thermal energy and where the quality of heat required is not high. Example, low pressure steam or hot water. Okay. These are the three technical options for cogeneration. Factors influencing cogeneration choice. Okay. What are the factors? Important factors. First one is base electrical load matching. Okay. Here the cogeneration system is sized to supply the minimum thermal energy requirement of the site. Sorry. The base electrical load matching means in this configuration, the cogeneration plant is sized to meet the minimum electricity demand of the site and the historical demand curve. The rest of the needed power is purchased from the utility grid. The thermal energy requirement of the site could be met by the cogeneration system alone or by the additional powers. If the thermal energy generated with the base electrical load exceeds the plant demand, and if the situation permits, excess thermal energy can be exported to neighboring customers. Okay, this is one factor. And next, base thermal matching. Here, the cogeneration system is sized to supply the minimum thermal energy requirement of the site standby boiler or furnace are operated during periods. When the demand for heat is higher, the prime mover installed operates at full load at all times. If the of the electricity demand of the site exceeds that which can be provided by the prime mover, then the remaining amount can be purchased from the grid. Likewise, if local laws permit, the excess electricity can be sold to power and electrical load matching. Okay, base load base electrical, here electrical load matrix. In this operating scheme, the facility is totally independent of the power utility grid. All the power requirement of the site, including the reserves needed during scheduled and unscheduled maintenance, are to be taken into account while sizing the system. This is also referred to as a standalone system. Okay, standalone means alone, single system. Okay, it cannot depend of other or government electricity grid. Okay, if the thermal energy demand of the site is higher than that is generated by the cogeneration system, auxiliary boiler are used. On the other hand, when the thermal energy demand is low, some thermal energy is wasted. If there is a possibility, excess thermal energy can be exported to neighboring facilities. And thermal load matching. A cogeneration system is designed to meet the thermal energy requirement of the site at any time. The prime movers are operated following the thermal demand. During the period when the electricity demand exceeds the generation capacity, the defect can be compensated by the power purchased from the grid. Similarly, if the local legislation permits, electricity produced in excess at any time may be sold to the utility. Then important technical parameters for cogeneration. First one is heat to power ratio. It is a very important ratio for a cogeneration plant. Heat to power ratio is one of the most important technical parameters influencing the selection of the type of cogeneration system. The heat to power ratio of the facility should match with the characteristics of the cogeneration system to be installed. It is defined as the ratio of thermal energy to electrical energy required by the energy consuming facility. Though it can be expressed in difficult units such as British thermal unit per kilowatt hour or kilocalories per kilowatt hour, or which means of the thermal energy to electrical energy ratio. Here it is presented on the basis of same energy units. Basic heat to power ratios of the different cogeneration system. Okay, which have some certain values. Okay, it's a constant. The turbine cogeneration system can offer a large range of heat to power ratios. Then next, quality of thermal energy needed. The quality of thermal energy required also determines type of cogeneration system. For a sugar mill needing thermal energy at about 120 degrees Celsius. That, another one type of cycle cogeneration system can meet the heat demand. On the other hand, for a cement plant requiring thermal energy at about 1450 degrees Celsius. Compared to this, in sugar mill having 120 degrees Celsius, but a cement plant having thermal energy at about 1450 degrees Celsius. For this requirement, another type of cogeneration cycle can meet the both high quality thermal energy and electricity demand of the plant. Okay, then fuel available. Okay, depending on the availability of fuel, some potential cogeneration system may have to be rejected. The availability of cheap fuels or waste products that can be used as a fuels at a site is one of the major factors in the technical consideration because it determines the competitiveness of cogeneration system. A rice mill needs mechanical power for milling and heat for paddy drying. If a cogeneration system were considered, the steam turbine system would be the first priority because it can use the rice husk as a fuel which is available as waste product from the mill. Okay. These are the introduction of the cogeneration plant. Tomorrow we will discuss the performance of the cogeneration plant numerically and